Sir, may I come in?
Yes, please. Please take your
Good
seat.
afternoon, sir.
Very, very good afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
So, give a brief introduction to the board without sharing your personal information like your name, your home state and your caste and religion.
Sir, I am a young aspirational girl and I did my BTech in computer science engineering in 2017, and since then I have been preparing for civil services.
Anything more?
So my hobbies are decoupage art and glass painting.
Glass painting. And what about your strength and weakness?
So my strength is that I don't shy away from taking difficult decisions or even opting for difficult situations, and my weakness is that sometimes I overthink a lot.
Overthink a lot.
Yes, sir. And also I am sometimes overconfident, and this is a major weakness, I think.
Okay. Your optional is sociology.
Yes, sir.
So first of all, tell me the positivism of Auguste Comte.
So Auguste Comte is known as father of sociology, and he says that sociology is the science of society and it needs to be studied the same way as we study physics, chemistry and maths by empirical means.
What is society?
So society is a complex made up of various institutions, various norms that work in tandem.
It is a definition of society, or you are guessing?
So I can remember this, but the exact definition I am unable to recall.
Okay. Are you familiar with the ideal type of Max Weber? Ideal type of Max Weber.
Yes, sir.
Please explain.
So ideal types, Max Weber says, are not ideal in real sense, but they are the approximate types of what an ideal situation should look like. For example, he says that bureaucracy is an ideal type. He states that Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism, it is ideal type for Protestant ethic is the ideal type for promotion of capitalism.
Can you explain the ideal type of bureaucracy? Basic features of ideal type of bureaucracy?
Yes, sir. So bureaucracy is hierarchical in nature. It is merit oriented. Recruitments are based on merit, and they follow rule based order. And sorry, sir.
Someone called the bureaucracy of Max Weber as a trend in capacity.
I haven't heard. Trend in capacity, sir, I am unable to comprehend.
Okay. So, can you explain the functional theory of R.K. Merton?
No, sir, I am unable to recall it right now.
Please tell me about the nature of society of Uttar Pradesh.
So, Uttar Pradesh society is rural in nature, mostly rural in nature, and family wise the society prefers joint families over the nuclear families. Occupation wise they prefer agriculture, and that's it.
You have done graduation in computer science. So tell me about the quantum computer.
So quantum computers are computers which work in quantum bits. They are not 0 or 1. They work in gray areas between 0 and 1. That makes it their processing powers much faster.
Okay. Thank you. Please, sir.
Point out main causes of Sri Lanka crisis.
So first of all, the first cause was the terrorist attack which happened in Sri Lanka. It dented their tourism. Second cause was the overspending by the Sri Lankan government in spite of the revenue shortcomings which they had and the extravagant subsidies which they gave to the Sri Lankans.
How Sri Lanka crisis affect to Indian internal security?
So very deeply it affects, because even earlier we have seen that when there was civil war in Sri Lanka, then our state of Tamil Nadu got deeply impacted, and somehow we got embroiled in the war, resulting in loss of our Prime Minister Shri Rajiv Gandhi ji. And even today, if there is anarchy in our neighbouring state, first of all, China will take advantage of it to gain more land over there. This is the direct security threat to our country. And secondly, sometimes terrorism like ISIS and all these organizations can gain ground and use it as a terrorist launch pad.
Oh, okay. My next question is, what is NATO?
North Atlantic Treaty Organization is a collective security initiative of many European and 2 North American countries. It has 30 members and it was formed in 1949.
What will be effect of depreciation of Indian currency?
Effect of depreciation of Indian currency occurs manifold. First of all, it raises cost of our imports, especially of oil imports. Also, however, our exports can get cheaper and this will have boost. But since the global economy is said to be in recession now, post COVID-19 pandemic and Russia-Ukraine.
What is basic difference between primary relations and secondary relations?
Sorry, sir.
What is basic difference between primary relations and secondary relations?
So, in terms of international relations?
No, in terms of society.
Primary relations are those who directly influence us, our parents, our peers. Secondary relations are those that may not directly influence us, but somehow have an indirect influence on us.
What is difference between money bill and finance bill?
Money bill is introduced according to Article 110 of the Constitution of India, in which the Lok Sabha has more powers than the Rajya Sabha and previous consent of President is required. Whereas financial bills are of 2 types, A and B, under Article 117, and in this Rajya Sabha exercise more powers than Lok Sabha as compared to, Rajya Sabha exercises more power as compared to the money bill scenario.
What is the significance of Shanghai Sahyog Sangathan?
So, it connects, the organization connects Central Asian economies and the Indian subcontinent economies. It has 4 nuclear powers, India, Pakistan, Russia and China, and also 23% of the world population and some 30% of the GDP.
What is the Gujarat Doctrine?
Gujarat Doctrine states that India should be very responsive of its neighborhood's needs and should act like a big brother and should help smaller neighbor states, but should not in reciprocation should expect anything from them.
My last question, point out main causes of increasing inflation in India.
So, first of cause is the Russia-Ukraine war, due to which imports of oil are expensive and this has widened our fiscal deficit. And secondly, the COVID-19 impact and the impending recession in the world economy.
Very good. Thank you.
You have CSE in your background, right? Yes. So, after doing your computer science engineering, why did you opt sociology as an optional paper?
So, I pursued civil services, but then I had to do self-study. I reside in Dehradun, and in that case there were very limited coachings during that time. Therefore, I took sociology because the syllabus looked more of doable to me with self-study. Also, sociology helps in understanding of society, and I thought that it will help in better administration practices.
Don't you think that after doing CSE, it is sheer wastage of money, time, everything, because you wanted to aspire to become a technocrat, and after that just to switch over to sociology. So it is sheer wastage of money, time, energy, everything. You would be better a technocrat for our country.
Sir, I comprehended the situation at that time in 2017, but I found myself unsuitable for the 9-to-5 job, a monotonous job sitting on the laptop and doing coding. I have my cousins in this field and I couldn't relate myself doing the same thing. Therefore, I decided to do civil services, which will give me a diverse background to serve the country.
Suppose you will be selected as an SDM, what will be your priorities in those areas?
Sir, my priority will depend upon the scenario of that area. If the area is malnutrition, then my priority will be to implement all the government food security schemes as better as I could. Also some of the innovative methods I have read about it. Can I say that, sir? Sir, in Gadchiroli there was very malnutrition area, but the administration there introduced Tiranga Parantha, wherein the three colors of vegetables were introduced as the midday meal along with the sesame chutney, and what was found was that malnutrition declined there, and now only I am unable to recall, but it's 12 to 13% is left over there. So such kind of innovative practices I think I can implement studying India as a.
So have you heard about P. Sainath? P. Sainath.
Lawyer, sir?
He was a journalist and he wrote a book also. Everyone loves drought because we are talking about all these malnutritions. That's why I am telling.
I'm sorry.
The same thing happened in Kalahandi also, in Odisha district. So you will be focused towards only food security. What
Sir,
will be
health, other issues will be health. For example, in my state, in the hilly areas, there is very limited accessibility of the health care, especially for the pregnant women. What they have done is an initiative known as DAV initiative, wherein in every village they have created a labor room. This has reduced the maternal mortality rate. So my focus will be to study innovative studies all over India and to implement whatever could I implement in my powers in that area.
Have you heard about Stephen Hawkins?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please tell us about Stephen Hawkins.
So he gave the theory about black holes, about the universe and its continuous expansion, as well as he did research about artificial intelligence and was one of the scientists who was skeptical about artificial intelligence taking over human beings.
Any book?
I'm unable to recall, sorry sir.
The Brief History of Time. Brief History of Time, if you recall. Right now you are talking about artificial intelligence. What is the scope of artificial intelligence in our country, and any guidelines by the CBSE which has given recently? How do you see this?
Sir, I don't know about the CBSE guidelines. However, the scope of artificial intelligence in our country is immense. For example, I will again take up the healthcare sector. Today the cancers are predicted at a later stage, wherein the treatments are very difficult. With the AI we can predict them in the early stage and thus can save lives. In education sector we see monotonous curriculums. However, it is are not matched with the child's intellectual capabilities. With AI we can gauge and we can give special attention towards the child specific.
Suppose you will be not selected, then what will you do?
So I will again be appearing for this.
Again you will not be selected.
So I haven't think about it, but then I will return to my field, computer science.
Last question, but not the least, that in today's era where we are living in metropolitan and cosmopolitan cities, live-in relationships are going on. With the coming of these Western values are floating across the nation. How do you think that the young generations are going for, particularly the women and men, they are going for all this? Is maybe it is ethical or non-ethical, that is not a debate. Debate is that because after that if any baby born, then what will happen to the next generation?
So live-in relations, I personally see myself, is a half-baked concept in India. It may have proved right in Western countries or not, which I don't know, but it is just the imitation which I say today, because in India we see marriage as a very successful institution, and sometimes back more of the arranged marriages were happening when the society was more of a conservative, and they went well. Today society is liberal, both girl and boy can easily communicate whatever issues they have, or they are compatible or not. Therefore I think live-in relationship is not a good option, because as you said, child then becomes a toy or a tool, that who will keep the child, who will keep custody of the child. Either they will fight for the child or they will fight to get rid of the child. So in both the cases it will have a negative psychological impact on the child, which has no sin of his.
One more question, just 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, right? Why it is so? because you are science background. Is there any justification?
Sorry, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Tell me, why should you be selected?
So I am self-motivated and I will work towards the upliftment of whatever community or whatever district I will be given, and the districts will definitely see better results with me as an SDM. That's
Okay. You mentioned that you are from Dehradun, right? Yes. How do you see the developmental projects in Uttarakhand affecting the basic or the natural ecosystem of Uttarakhand? Like we can see in now and again there are disasters over there, and something or the other things happens there. So how do you see the developmental works over there?
So developmental works can be categorized as important and not important. Not important in the sense that they can be withheld for some time till better technology or better implementation or alternative plans are made. For important, I will say that the recent news was the Char Dham Marg Yojana, where NGO said that it is harming the ecology of the Uttarakhand state. We are more prone to landslides in that case. But then we should see the security aspect as well. On the other side of the border, China always do incursions. We have more than 100 incursions in Uttarakhand per year. Also, China is building world-class infrastructure. So, in that case, I think ecology can be sidelined for the security perspectives. However, sometimes the development projects are like the Alaknanda power project, which suffered damage due to the eruption of Nanda Devi glacier last year.
See, I would like to stop you here. You mentioned that ecology can be sidelined for purposes like security and all, XYZ you mentioned like that. My point is that already the migration rate from Uttarakhand is very high, yes, right? I think 1 or 2 years back, the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand had launched a movement of like Ghar Wapsi type movement, that yes, people of Uttarakhand should come back to Uttarakhand. And you are saying that if developmental projects are affecting the natural ecosystem, then don't you think that people will definitely migrate in a greater number rather than going back to their states, they will migrate from there?
No, sir. Again, I would like to use my previous example. The Char Dham Yojana is actually there to focus, to boost employment by increasing number of tourists, number of safe travels.
No, I'm not saying just in the case of employment only. See, since it's their motherland, so nobody wants to leave their motherland, right? So not only in the case of for the purpose of employment, but moving out from their traditional houses or from ancestral houses is a tough thing, right? So how do you correlate this thing?
So when Tihri Dam was built, the Tihri Gaon, which was there, the Tihri village was submerged. Their people weren't ready, as you said, to leave their land, but then it provides us with electricity and also the royalty and the revenue.
So do you think that this type of projects are in the favor of the people, or?
Yes, sir. So the people displaced there was then given places in Dehradun itself.
So developmental projects at the cost of the lives of the people or at the cost of the displacement of the people is acceptable, right?
By and large, if it is security and something very necessary need like electricity, which is of very, very crucial for our further growth, then it is. However, our focus should be to minimize them and if possible forge out alternate plans for this thing.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Last question. Tell me your roll number in Hindi, because we are going to serve in a Hindi build.
6,54,074.
No, this is wrong.
Sorry, sir.
Please try, not sorry.
Sir, actually I am unable to recall my roll number.
Okay, your interview is over. You may go now.